What's up, everybody? Sean the D-Man here, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are doing great. Hope you guys had yourselves a great weekend. We are back with episode 3 review of Spider-Noir over on Amazon Prime, and really like this episode. This has been actually a pretty good first 3 episodes. Have actually been really fun and really good. This one is a lot more detective based than like what the first 2 episodes were. But if you're before we get into it, if you're new to the channel, be sure you hit that like and subscribe button. I did my little quick review of A24's Backrooms movie the other day. If you've not seen that, so definitely go check that out. But other than that, let's just jump in and talk about it. So, like I mentioned, this episode has a lot more detective work in it and just setting things up, which I really loved. All right, so one of the things we learn is first and foremost, we know the picture of Marco, Addison, and now we know it's Lonnie Lincoln, also known as Tombstone. We know they were in a group together, but Ben points out that this must have had been a POW camp because during the war, particularly for Lonnie, they would have been in segregated units. They wouldn't be seen together here. And so while while Janet goes and digs into that, Robbie's going to go back to or what does he called it? The Hoover, not Hoover slums. It's Hoover slums. I can't remember the pronounced name they called it, but he's going to go and try to essentially find Lonnie and get more questions about that. Meanwhile, Silvermane comes by the office and essentially hires Riley to find out who the rat is, who tipped off the cops and everything like that. And so they have a conversation. He hands like a first payment, and he's like, there'll be more, you know, if you complete the job, like a little bonus. And so one of the main focuses of this episode is essentially Silvermane's money, because the money he gives to people that work for him, whether it's Cat Grant, whether it's Addison, Riley, whoever, he marks it a specific way. And that's one of the things we learn, and it comes into play a little bit later in the episode. Um, sorry. So that is one of the things that comes into play is the money thing. Um, so you see a lot more detective work in this episode, like I mentioned. So for instance, during the episode, Ben goes and meets Silvermane, and he kind of like webs Silvermane's doors, his out that leads to the balcony outside of his place. He kind of webs the doors, and so because he comes back later as a spider, because he obviously he's being tailed by Silvermane's guys. He hires Frankie, the little kid that we've been seeing throughout the series, the first 3 episodes. He hires him to pretend to be Ben in his apartment, just drinking, walking around, smoking, to give the look of Ben's been in his apartment all day, like he hasn't left all day. Meanwhile, you see Ben go to Silvermane's place and you know break in and just basically take some money for a specific reason. Now that specific reason involves Addison's ex-wife, or wife, I guess, depending on how you want to go about it. Um, Riley goes to her and essentially tells her that she needs to leave town. Now she's like, I want $1,000 because I can always just go to Silvermane directly, and I'm sure he'll pay the money for the information. And so he's like, okay, I'll get you the money and all that. Meanwhile, you have Robbie, and I mentioned I think in episode 1 where I wasn't sure if they was called like the Daily Special or the Daily Bugle, because we hadn't seen the name yet, but the Daily Bugle does exist here. I mean, obviously, I guess it would, but we see Robbie. Robbie was at uh, the Hoover slums looking for Lonnie when a police raid busts in, and it's just they just start beating people up and everything like that. Lonnie comes out, starts to basically protect people and fight off the cops. Don't forget, Marco is also there as well. And so Robbie's there with his camera taking pictures of everything. And at first I thought the guy that eventually was playing Lonnie, I thought, oh, could he be playing, maybe like a version of Rhino or something like that? But no, no, he's playing Tombstone. And so Robbie goes to the Daily Bugle because that's one of the things he's been trying to do is get his job back at the Daily Bugle. So I guess he has not had it in over 5 years or so since the spider had gone away. Um, so he's trying to get his job back at the Daily Bugle. It definitely seems like the editor is kind of like playing a little loosey with it. Talk about like, hey, if you keep bringing me these photos and stuff like that, then we'll talk about it. And then even then, the story that Robbie wrote up about the incident is not the same story um, that plays out in the newspaper, calling Flint and Lonnie monsters, attacking the police, talking about how the police's um, routine operation was abrupted by these monsters and everything like that, and it's a hot mess. Meanwhile, you have Ben. He goes to like to a nearby hospital with some of the wounded police officers during that raid in the previous episode. He has like all these different cards and stuff like that of these different personas that he would use to get in and get out of places. And he goes in and he starts just talking to some of um, these officers that were wounded, and they're all just kind of like going up the peg of the chain of command. You got like a, I guess better term, private. Oh, the sergeant gave the order, so you go to the sergeant. Oh, the chief of police gave the order, you go to him, and then it's just up the stepping ladder, and then you learn that Chief Morris, not Chief Morris, but the Mayor Morris is the one who basically called this raid. And typically these raids take months preparation and stuff like that, but these officers only had a few hours to do it. Now this also again plays into um, the rat and everything like that. You got Riley meeting Addison, and Addison basically being like, "Hey, if you find out who it is, no matter if it's a dame or whatever kind of lounge singer or whoever, you come to me first." And Riley kind of like bribe, like kind of like pay me for that information, that kind of stuff. So he hands some of his money over to Riley in that case. Um, you have Marco, and now Marco and Cat Hardy are in a relationship. So that is a very interesting thing. I thought, obviously it came off as he's her bodyguard and stuff like that. But no, they're in a relationship with each other. Um, I guess Marco's afraid to be with her because of his powers and everything like that. It's very dangerous, and Cat wants to be there for him, but he's just kind of like no, and I can't do that to you and everything like that. Because she wants to leave. She wants them both to leave and just get out of New York and everything like that. Um, you have you have oh, what was it? Oh, I had it in my head and I lost it. There was some others. There was something else about it. Um, so basically, the way all this ties into the money thing. So Ben goes to Addison's wife. He has the $1,000. Now keep in mind, he went and he kind of like broke into Silvermane's home and into his safe. And as this is something I really love too, is like his spider sense was letting him know if he got the correct combination to the safe. And I actually really, really love the goggles that he has where he can just like click it on like as like flashlights and things like that. I really kind of like that. It was a pretty cool sequence. Now, obviously, you could definitely tell when it's Nicolas Cage in the suit, and then when it's like a stunt double. It is what it is. It was pretty, it's pretty common. everybody's kind of like, oh, like again, he's like 70 something. So obviously they're gonna have a stump double for some of this stuff. Um, so Ben goes and he's able to give the money, all $1,000 to Addison's wife. Now, outside, some of Silvermane's men have been, obviously following Riley, and they look up and it's on coincidentally, it's on the window to where they see Addison's wife putting clothes in a suitcase, getting ready to leave town. Um, Addison gets caught, not Addison, but Ben gets called by the mayor because the mayor wants to see him, and so he goes to the mayor because meanwhile he told Frankie to go to the alcove, keep an eye on Cat Hardy. If she goes anywhere, I want to know about it. So he goes to see the mayor. The mayor wants to have a sit down or just wants to meet with the spider. And Riley's like, the spider? I thought that guy was dead. And he's like, no, I'm on good authority to know he's well and alive. Um, and he's talking about how this, crime is just rampant. People are like need answers and stuff like that. And he's like, I know how you two used to be back in the day because you always seem to be in the right place to get those pictures of him. And so he's like, I don't care about your deal with him or whatever, but I want to try to have a sit down and meet with him. Meanwhile, Frankie tells Ben that Cat has gone to the to Penn Station. He races over there. You essentially see he is trying to protect Cat Hardy. Now, we see like the flashback of where we saw Ruby being handcuffed in the car as it's sinking, I guess into the Hudson River, I guess we could say. But instead of like Ruby's face, it's Cat's face. So you could definitely see that Ben is probably starting to be like develop some type of feelings for her. And we'll see how that plays out throughout the season. Um, and so he's talking with Cat, and he basically pins it. He not pins it. He just says that you hired Addison to burn down Superman's home and everything, and all this stuff. He's like laying out all this stuff to her, but she's like, I didn't do it. He talked about how like men are all the same, where they just come up with a story and everybody just fits into it. Superman treats her as a doll. Marco treats her as if she's somebody that can't handle things, and then Ben treats her as like she's a killer, and that's not even the case. But Winston shows up and is basically like, "Oh, caught you red-handed." Addison's wife spilled everything after we, slapped her around a few times to get the information that we needed. And he's like, let's go for a ride. So they go and meet Silvermane. And this is where like all of this comes into play. So okay, I'm trying to think of how to frame it because it was just so interesting watching how all this came into play. So remember how in the episode when Ben ran into Winston at the bar, and Winston's like, if you see anybody or if you know who it is, you got the proof, you come to me first and I'll take care of it. And Ben kind of like gestures to him, for Winston to pay him. He does. We also see that Ben takes some money out of uh Silvermane's safe, and he mixes it in with the money he got from Addison. That same money he got from, not Addison, I'm sorry, Winston. I keep getting those names from Winston. And so that money he got from Winston that he combined with the money from Superman's safe is the $1,000 that went to Addison's wife. And that's the money that Winston pulls from her. It's kind of like proof as like, she was paid, for, and all that stuff. And so, uh, Silvermane takes the money and he goes through it, and then he realizes like, you know, this is the money that I pay you with, Winston. And then when it clicks in Winston's head, he remembers giving money to Ben earlier in the episode, and he realized that Ben sets him up. And when Addison's wife's like, it was him. He threatened to kill me if I said anything. And then Silvermane shoots Addison, Winston. I don't know why I'm getting their names mixed up as I am, but he shoots Winston and into like an already dug grave that they were going to use. And you think that is about the end of it. And then Silvermane's like, Riley, are you good with a shovel? And he's like, why do you ask? He's like, because we're going to need another grave. And you see him like, the episode ends with Silvermane firing off a gun. So I'm curious on who it was. I personally feel like it's probably Addison's wife that got shot. I haven't seen the episode yet. Like I said, we're doing this episode by episode because I just really wanted to take the time to watch this series. So, um, yeah. So I think it's probably Addison's wife that got shot. I don't think it was Cat. I don't think it was. Obviously, it was not. Well, it could be Ben, and then somehow he survives the bullet wound and everything like that. I mean, that could be the case, but no, I think it's probably Addison's wife. Maybe we'll see. But yeah, so that is basically episode 3 of Spider-Noir. Really good series. It really is a fun series to sit back and watch. I love some of the detective work, and it definitely just seems like Ben was setting things up from the very beginning for the most part. Now I'm sure there's maybe some luck that kind of fell into it here and there. But it looks like he had a plan, and he definitely set things up. I love his spider sensibility, um, where he was like working the combination of the safe and then like him getting it with his senses and stuff like that. Really, really loved it. But yeah, overall, really liked it. Episode 3, solid. This has been a pretty good series so far. I'm really excited for it. And so, guys, if you're new to the channel, be sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Comment below. What do you guys think about this series? And then also, like I mentioned, you can find me over on the Shawnee D Man Gaming channel, Kick, Twitch, Rumble, the Nerd Talk podcast on Spotify. All that you can find down in the description below. But other than that, guys, thank you for hanging out. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Y'all have a good one.